Well, not that you have anything to prove once you proved it when you win, but in your mind you think, well, I have to prove that I was worthy, which is crazy because the winning itself is the proof. But you really want to do well, and yeah, it was a lot of pressure, mostly all put on by yourself. But there is some from the media, or whatever, around you too. They expect you to do well again because you've done it once. So the expectations are on you, and yeah, it was tough.
It was the year that we had a Welshman as a winner, 95, Richie Burnett, but it was also the year, and we'd seen him before, but it was the year that Ray Barneveld started to show his class, and Holland started to take an interest in darts, really.
Big interest, and I think that's when they all started coming up, the Orange Army, and Barneveld was starting to get a name. But I like the way he said about Richie Burnett, because Wales had been in the doldrums for many years until Richie came onto the scene, and I think it boosted the Welsh a lot, as well as Holland starting as well. The Welsh came back.
It was his year, wasn't it? He beat Barney in the final, and he couldn't do much wrong that year.
Richie, you require 36.
Double 18. Yes, it's there! Look at him standing, look at him applauding.
He was playing really good, Richie, because he's a really tough guy he was to beat. He was really focused, and he was like up for every dart he threw. He meant it. There's no, he was serious, wasn't he?
Champion, Richie Burnett!
Well, the following year, that was the year we had a bit of glamour as a world champion. Steve Beaton, who here is responsible for the bronze to Domics? Come on.
Do you put your hand up?
I think you need to.
Well, he'd just been to Barbados, hadn't he, beforehand? He always did.
So the town was real that year?
Oh, yes, definitely, yeah. And he walked onto that stage as though he owned it, and he felt good. And the most natural dart player I think I've ever seen. And there was flowing that year. And once again, there was only one winner from the off.
Steve, you require 16.
The title in his hands, double 8. Yes, it's all over. It's there, Steve Beaton. That's the friendship on that hockey. A kiss for Beaton, the new Embassy World Professional Champion.
It's amazing how often we see that, just that 1 year where everything clicks for a dart player, and it might not happen again, and often doesn't.
Well, Steve played very well that year. He was just, and he's quick paced. You know, I lost him in the second round, and just you couldn't do anything. He was just going to win that tournament. He was the man that year, and just he's a pleasure to watch a guy in that sort of style. Just rat-a-tat-tat, bang, 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 and just gets right on with it. And if you're not playing him, it's a real pleasure to watch.
We've seen some entrances over the years, haven't we, onto that hockey. You've given us quite a few showbiz entrances, but nothing really beats Les Wallace in '97. The kilt, the pipes.
100 pipers and all and all.
Whose idea was the pipes? Was that Les's himself?
No, I think it was his manager at the time. He had the big limousine that they were waiting for him with the pipers and into it. I mean, Les didn't know where he was. He didn't know there was pipers.
He didn't care.
He didn't care either.
He didn't care. He was
lovely guy, lovely. Yeah. Oh dear.
He wasn't like, he didn't dress up any different. He had a jumper on. Yeah. I wonder he never had a hole in the elbow or something.
Oh dear.
And he put his skirt on. He said, because he said to me, I'm going to wear a skirt. And I thought, what are you on about, wear a skirt? He meant a kilt. He called it a skirt. He's a Scotsman. Well, he's an English Scotsman, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he called it a skirt. I said, well, you're a dangerous, really dangerous player. He called himself
McDanger.
McDanger. Yeah. That's how he got it. But I remember he played Barneveld, and he beat Barneveld. And Barneveld said, what planet do you come from? Because you played so well.
Yeah,
that was a great match.
3-2, I think it was 3-2. It was a really good match, probably the best match that year was played. Yeah. He said Pluto. Where he said it, Pluto. You know, he was.
He's come down from there.
No, he's still in Pluto, but he's that sort of guy. Nothing flash about him.
He's a lovely man.
Nothing, you know, he's world champion, and I've done exhibitions with him. You wouldn't think he was world champion. He was so laid back.
Yeah, so inoffensive.
Even when he wins the championship, he throws the winning double and he stands there. game shot. He goes, well, I won. I thought, I don't believe him. I won. He was surprised he won. He said to me, I thought I had another leg to go, he said. He's a boy, isn't he?
And if he wasn't celebrating, the guy who won it next year and the year after had his own trademark celebration, sinking to his knees, arms aloft.
Well,
Van Barneveld as he was then.
Yabba dabba do.
It's there! It's there! Look at him, Ray
He's done all the dart players a favour, really, Raymond van Barneveld winning the championship, because the sales of darts, people playing darts in Holland, it's massive. The youth, they brought the Dutch have done really good, because Barneveld winning it, everyone wanted to be a Raymond Barneveld. And they've got all the youth, they've got everyone playing darts. It's an industry over there now. They can watch it.
They can watch it all live.
And also the language barrier is the same. I mean, the Dutch talk better English than I do. You know, so there's no, you know, that, I know that.
They practice harder.
Yeah, but they've got the humour, they've got our television, they know the game, they love the game. And it's good for the professional dart players now, because they all go over there, they work over there as well.
Exactly. What you've got to realise is that all our players here, and all them that's seen on television, they spend more time in Holland during the off-peak series of darts, doing exhibitions, and they are now making a comfortable living, not here, in Holland. So that speaks for itself. Great for Barney, great for the players.
Winning the title for Ray Barneveld changed his life possibly more than any other dart player that's won this tournament.
Oh yeah, he became a millionaire overnight.
Exactly.
Because I think there was 2,000 people at the airport just waiting for him. You know, I mean, what other sports they've got? Football, they're not doing so well there. Skating, not doing so well there. Mountain climbing, never seen. You know, so they've got Ray Barneveld.
Well, we're coming from being a postman to world champion. I said to him, it's better than walking the streets, isn't it? Well, it is, isn't it?
The winner in 2000, and well, blink and you miss it. Ted Hankey against Ronnie Baxter, and I think Ronnie was back at the practice boards before he even realised there was a match on.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you with that final. I know it was 6-0, and in the record books it looks a whitewash, and it is a whitewash. But I did a piece in the programme, and I state in there that it was the finest final as far as one person was concerned, with the records, with his accuracy, finishing on 170 to finish it up. One of the best performances I've seen from an individual player in a final.
There's one. There's two. The bullseye for the title. Yes! What a shot to win a world championship!
I can't remember exactly what game he played, but I remember he played and he hit more ton 80s than he hit doubles.
18, I think.
And I thought I'd never see that. I never ever see a guy hit more ton 80s in a game than doubles.
Well, he hit 48 in the tournament.
I think it was 18 in the final though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
But one of the games, 20s, I think, I can't remember exactly, but it was.
When you lose, it's quite possible to hit a few 180s. But when you're winning, to hit more 180s than doubles is quite something.
Yeah, he hit more ton 80s.
And he was winning and doing
I
it.
can't remember exactly.
It was a remarkable performance, really was. Spectacular.
Certainly Ted's best day. And there's
amazing.
plenty more to talk about. We've got another 6 years to cram through, but
Oh, dear.
I think we'll take a rest for a while.
Darts are about to get thrown into the Dragon's Den. Bobby George has new concepts. Will he hit bullseye? Will he get bounced out of the den? And here he is, outside the boardroom. Are you ready with your pitch?
I've got some very good products here, Raymond.
You pretty confident about this?
Oh, yeah. If they don't want it, I don't care. If I'm not catching off the ship, I won't get on it, mate.
Head dragon is Martin Fitzmaurice, man and boy that compare at the World Darts. Stand-up comedian, after-dinner speaker, he's made more money opening supermarkets than Dale Winton. Juliet Farrington is a style guru to the darts fraternity. She sold her transfer tattooing business last year for 65 quid. Canadian John Part's entrepreneurial instinct brought him to Frimley Green in the early 90s. He also brings an international aspect to the den. David Croft has been in darts for a decade and is still searching for an original concept.
Come in. Bobby, welcome to the Dragon's Den.
Hi.
I know you've got some inventions for us. We haven't got time to hear them all, and we don't want to, quite frankly. So give us your best two.
Oh, thank you very much. Very, very much. You're happy, aren't you? Right.
I hope I will be.
Right. Here we go. A light. A low energy bulb. Doesn't burn no 11 volts. 240, but only 11 volts it burns. Doesn't get hot. You can leave it on 24 hours a day. On the dartboard. Doesn't dry it out. And there's no shadows at all on the dartboard when you throw a dart. Easy to put up. You clip it on the bracket that the dartboard's holding on. And you've got no wiring. Don't have to have an electrician. Just plug it in and away you go.
How much, Bobby?
Probably £200.
£200 for a light in a pub. John Park, what do you think?
I think no. I don't think the value is there for the public and to install that. The dartboard will be used one way or the other anyway.
Juliet.
Low energy, environmentally friendly. I'll take a risk. I like it.
Martin.
Specialised dart player would like to see it in pubs.
I'll tell you what, Bob, Cliff Richard did very well when he lost the shadows, and I think you will as well. I'm in. What about you, John?
I'm out.
I'm there.
I'm in.
3-1, you're on.
What investment would you put in?
We'll talk about money later, but I want to see your other invention first.
Okay. Here we go. The laser darts. Here you are, look. See if I can get it right on your nose. Look at that.
I've got enough
Yeah,
red
look.
spots on my nose.
Look at that. It's... You can play darts with them, but to be honest, it's a bit fat. Because obviously it's a new invention and you've got little batteries in it. And eventually they're going to be tungsten and thinner. But for youngsters or people who never throw a dart, and to try to hold that dart, your arm in the same position, it's amazing how you wobble.
It's because you're nervous.
Because you're nervous. And if you can train yourself to hold that onto the target in the same place every time, it's got to improve your darts. And not only that, youngsters will probably enjoy that better, because if they don't hit the target with the point, they can hit it with the light.
Good explanation, Bob. Martin.
Has it been tried and tested?
No. Only with me. It's not on the market yet. It's never been on the... It's not out on the market.
But you're aiming for a target, but people throw in so many different ways.
Sure. But the idea is for a training purposes for youngsters to get involved in the game and to enjoy the game. And if they can't hit the target, they can actually play a game of darts, how long they can keep on the target.
Do they use one dart?
No, you can use 3 darts.
What does 3 darts cost?
About 17 quid.
Juliet, what do you think?
No. Short shelf life, gimmick. New technology comes around all the time. Don't like it.
You've got all the spiel, Bobby. Let's see if you've got the deal. Martin.
No.
Yes,
John.
I like it.
One each.
Awkward.
Juliet.
No.
That invention, Bobby, is like a blunt pencil.
Mickey Mouse, is it?
Totally pointless. But I've got a couple of quid in my pocket, and I'll give you your bus fare home. We'll see you about the first invention later. Get out.
Thank you very much.
Tournaments gone by.
Double 17, double 16. There's the sucker punch. Yes, he's going. The Bristol fans. Them's the ones that count. The big finishes.
Now, yesterday we touched, gentlemen, on Eric Bristow and the start of his dominance of the game of darts. But for 3 years in the mid-80s, he was unbeatable, John Part. Eric Bristow was the champion and showed everyone just how good he was. 84, 85, 86.
Well, yeah, and in Canada, that's probably who we knew as a dart player, and that's probably about it. You know, you get the odd finals on tape over there, and the odd mention in the newspapers, and well, he had the personality as well, so I think he got a little more press maybe than even over on our side than maybe darts otherwise would have got. And yeah, it was just he's the biggest single memory I would have from that period.
Were the other players scared of playing Bristow? Was his confidence, his cockiness always a factor for him?
Well, I'll tell you something. He had them beat before they got on the stage, half of them, because he'd walk over to me and say, "What are you doing here?" He said, "You better get your money," because he said, "You're going no further." And that was his attitude. And he meant it, because that was his confidence.
They call it sledging in cricket.
They used to say to me, "You got a one-day return, have you?" or something. What do you mean? That was the wind-up. I think that was good for the game, though.
I think it helped him as well.
Yeah, he had to trap it off, Eric. He could not be. Yeah. That was the way he was, and he'd make him play better. But people say I didn't like him. He was horrible. But that's the way he was. He wasn't that bad. He wasn't a bad guy, really.
Yeah, great lad. He's very generous as well.
Very witty he was as well. I remember in '80, the first game he played, and the lowest score ever in this World Championship for 30 years for a guy, scoring-wise, was Eric. He hit a 1. He hit the wire, bounced out, hit the wire, bounced out, 1. And the caller says, 1. I thought, cool. When he come up, I said, 1? That's a good start. He said, Bob, the 1's got to come off sometime. He's right, he had all the answers.
He won it that year as well.
Oh, he beat me, I know that.
Yeah, I know. I just thought I'd remind you, Bob.
I know, don't let me forget.
A genuine word about Bobby George. He played magnificently tonight, and he's really set the darts world alight in this past year.
He's going to be the number 2 of the future.
Well, he won 2 finals, didn't he, in that 3-year period with a 97.5 average. Same average, both finals.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, this is what wins the games anyway, consistency.
But Eric was very good at sets. That's where he was the master.
He picked
the games he thought, this is, I've got to win this. And that's how he won his games. He used his head on the sets. Now he's just winning a game when you can't, when you think, well, it's my darts and I won, so what? You should do. You've got to win the game when it's not your darts, and that's where he used to work it all out. He was quite shrewd at
Timing is the biggest element.
Timing, he was good at timing, yeah.
You were saying that the other day.
Yeah, he was good at timing.
I mean, you talk a lot about bullying your opponent on the hockey.
And
is that what you mean by, picking the right time to go and bully your opponent?
Yeah, in darts, you have to bully. You can be a nice guy off the hockey, but when you're up there, and Eric, because people hated him because he was that way, but you bully him. I mean, you've got, when you're on top, grind them in the ground. Don't let them get back at you. Don't give them a chance. And that's when you become a champion.
And he was champion in '86, but he was holding the trophy at a different venue. That was the year the World Darts shifted down here to the lakeside.
Yeah, another great move, that. Yeah, I remember it well. I remember coming here and meeting Bob Potter with Ollie Croft, and we looked at the venue. We'd been to Stockport the week before. That was a nice venue. But when Ollie looked at this place, he said, "I think it's too big, you know." And I said, "Pardon?" He said, "It's too big." I said, "Well, what you expected?" He said, "Well, if you have afternoon matches, we won't fill it." Bob Potter stood there. He said, "That's my job. I'll do that. Bring it here, and I'll see to the rest."
Once you saw the lakeside, there was no turning back, I think.
Oh no. At the time, it was the top club in Europe. Now, what more can you wish for? Being at the top club, and it's been the venue. It's the Wembley of darts. Let's have it right. Everybody gets looked after. Great fans. They just flock here year after year.
Well, we haven't played on the stage, well, not seriously anyway, but obviously these two have. Just tell us what it's like to walk out there at the Mecca.
It's a feeling you can't buy. You know, if you'd ever done it, I mean, you walk on the stage and have a game with me now, it's not the same, but you fill that audience up and you're playing in the World Championship and then you want your money. The doors open up and the crowd go, it makes you tingle. You can't get that feeling anywhere else. Anything I've ever done, it's better than making love. I think so.
The other thing,
John? What do you think?
The English guys were still dominating at the end of the 80s. Bristow, Bob Anderson and John Lowe. Bob Anderson, the champion. There were many cowboys in the sports of arts, but then Bob rode into town.
Yeah, well, yeah. Bob, he won the championship, but he played a lot of tournaments before that. I went to Las Vegas and a guy gave me a cowboy shirt, didn't fit me. It's true, and I'll give it to Bob. And he cut the sleeves off, I think, and then he got another shirt made, and he called himself, I had a go at him because he put sequins and diamantes on his shirt. He called himself the Limestone Cowboy.
That's right.
Got a right on with him.
You gave him the hat as well, didn't you?
Nah. He was a great player. He played, you know, not only in this tournament, but in the World Masters. He won that 3 times on the trot.
Yeah, that many goals, he thought he was rodeo.
They had the eyes. To me, I remember, because that's about when I was really having an actual interest in the game in Canada, and I remember watching him probably the year he won, and what burned into me was how his eyes would look so focused and intense on the targets, and just the emotion level, and I really could identify with that as just in a competitive way, and it made him like one of my early dart heroes. Someone I could try and model myself after. I thought, this guy is intense, this is great. I thought that was what you needed.
Well, you talk of the Cowboy, so you're halfway there, John.
Yeah.
Right on, baby. Right on.
We almost said bye-bye to Bristow, didn't we, by the end of the 80s? His dartitis was taking its toll, but then he came back for that final with Jockey in 89, a classic.
Jockey require 156.
For the world title, the shot is on. It's another 60. Oh, he's taking his time.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
A nod. He wants double 18.
120. Eric can require 130.
To save the match.
Thank you.
To save a cracking match. He won 60 in the bull. He's got to get the bull, I think. And he's got it! Whoa! And still the spirit, sensational! Sportsmanship, even with all this tension, prestige, and cash at stake.
Oh, yeah. 5-0 down, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5-0 down.
5-0 down. And then suddenly, set by set, leg by leg, and it was building up and building up. I tell you what, the feelings in the commentary box was absolute. Can he do it from 5-0 down?
Jockey required 20.
Double 10 to take the title. Double 10. Yes! Jockey Wilson! Champion of the world in 1982! Does it! But what an amazing comeback by Bristow! He was 5 sets to love down. Unbelievable! What a match! What a brilliant darts match!
Alas, it didn't happen, but it just showed his true character because, like I said, once you get that dartitis,
it's terrible. I mean, people
so shocking.
Probably wouldn't know what dartitis is. Dart players do. Well, it's you get a dart and you aim and you just it's stuck to your fingers. I have never got it. I mean, touch plastic or wood. I mean, it's the worst thing for any dart player to have. You just can't let go of the dart. You actually almost throw yourself on the floor. And Eric said, it's terrible, I can't let go of it. Just cannot let go of it. I give the boys, he was never the same player after he had that. But he played out of it, he kept playing and playing. And it must be embarrassing for a great player to go even do an exhibition. Get on the stage, game on, and you're like this, and you feel sorry for a guy.
Maybe it was time for a new face to take the stage, but I tell you what, we'll leave that for another afternoon.
Why not?
Thank you very much.
In 2001 then, a new millennium, and Ted Hankey was back in the final that year, but it wasn't going to be his year again. John Boy Walton became the champion, and you said to me a couple of weeks ago, Bobby, if I could think of one player for which everything went right throughout the whole 12 months, culminating in a title, it was John Boy Walton in 2001.
John Boy Walton, he was 66 to 1 to win. And Raymond asked me who's going to win, and I thought, whoa, it's dodgy. I said John Morton at the beginning. John Morton didn't only win the title, he won it so easy. Yeah. He was not under pressure. Not any game he played, he walked the game. It was like picking flowers. He's unbelievable, he was.
John, you require 25.
He's back to 9, double 8.
Again, double 8.
Yes, this time it's there. This time he is the Everton World Champion, John Walton.
I remember, because I played pairs a few times with John, and he had a problem hitting doubles. He couldn't hit a double. He'd get to a double and freeze. And I said, well, you got to practice your doubles. And he said, phone me out, I'm going around the board. He said, I've done it in so many darts, and next week I've done it in so many darts. And then one day he said, I've done every dart, every double, which is really unbelievable to do. I said, you'll win it. And he did win it.
Now, 2002 was the year we had another overseas winner. It was my first time covering the World Darts Championship, and I remember on the first night I was here, I got talking to someone at the bar. I said, who's a good tip for the title? And he said, well, there's this Australian guy called Tony David. He's been playing great darts in Super League, and he's worth an each-way bet. So I took him at 40-1, and there he is. He wins the title, and just a great gutsy performance throughout the whole week for varying different reasons.
He's straight up, he's looking at double top, he's going straight for it. Double 10. Match points. And another. It's there! It is there!
Match! And the championship! Tony David!
Hello.
G'day, Dad.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Oh, mate, I'm over the moon. I'm crying my eyes out. Mum's crying her eyes out. We're really over the moon with this. And we wish you all the best, son. You've been really battling. And you dreamt about this, and your dreams come true, mate.
He threw from there, and it went no further. He couldn't take his arm back because of his disability.
He walked with a limp. He had to have injections every day because of his condition, and I think his arms were like a pincushion by the end of the tournament.
Well, I took him on tour. I took him on tour after he'd won it, and with Trina Gulliver, and Trina became a nurse. She was injecting it. It's true.
2003, I think that was more Dutch delight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we had another Welshman in the final, but this time the lamb chop, got chopped by Ray Barneveld.
Yeah, little Richie. He's a great little player, Richie.
The professor.
Yeah, he didn't really play darts for financial reward. He played darts because he enjoyed it. His job, he used to say to me, my job comes first. Done computers. And he wasn't a guy that up front. I'd done exhibitions in Wales, and he'd come along and do the chalking for me. And I said, you want to play me? Oh, no, he said, no, I just press the buttons. He said, that'd do me. Very quiet guy.
And I tipped him that year, believe it or not. But as always, I've yet to tip a winner.
Publicly.
But, yeah, good performance.
Publicly,
but yeah. I think Raymond became in his own then.
Yeah.
You know, he really started to show what Ray Barneveld really was.
And everyone expected Ray to come back the next year and win it. And even halfway through his semi-final, everyone expected Ray Barneveld still to win the title, but 2004 was the year that proved all good things come to those who wait.
Double 2. That's a good marker. He'll move across. Good eye line. He's done it! You will not believe it!
Yeah, he's in the final.
And I don't think there was a more popular winner of this title than Andy Fordham in 2004.
You're correct.
Andy was and is, just a fan favorite. He's the one that everyone knew. He threw so many good darts and lost so many tough semi-finals, and really he deserved a title, and he finally did get it.
The title is in his hands. 6 darts at least for 61. Could go treble 15, double 8. That's 30, so 31 left. 15 leaves double eight, making certain. 15 double eight could be the shot. Double eight for the title. It's there!
Shot! Match and the championship! And you've won!
It's probably the happiest. We've had the whole audience in our championship ever. Just when he finally did it.
There was tears everywhere.
Yeah.
Tears everywhere. The only one that wasn't crying was Jenny, his wife. She was laughing her head off. You know, but she's like that, even when he loses. You know, it's a game. You know, to Andy, but he's such a lovable guy, and he has respect from the players, from everybody. It's so inoffensive. Such a great talent.
Champion of the world, Andy Barnum!
I say all good things come to those who wait. 2005, I thought that might happen again, but Martin Adams is still waiting for that title. And his best mate at the time, Ray Van Barneveld, snatched it away from him.
Raymond to require 32.
It could be all over. Fourth title, it's there, double 16.
Match and the championship, Raymond Van Barneveld.
Raymond Van Barneveld. But Martin, it's not your year.
He does play well. He's very consistent. He's the same all the time, Martin Adams. But for some reason, I know he gets. I know it sounds like I'm having a pop at him, but every time he gets to the winning post, you can. He's going to win this. He's going to win it. I think he's done it now. And then he gets a puncher. Right on the head every time. No, why does he do that? But this year it might be easier.
I've got a slight inkling for this year.
Might be easier.
Well, if Martin Adams is showing you can't beat a bit of experience, Jelle Klassen came here last year and, well, just completely rewrote the form books.
Amazing.
That was great.
It was great. Yeah.
Honestly.
For a young guy, I mean, come along. Obviously, the Dutch have got good players, but no one sort of thought this young man's going to win. He started off quite rough the first. I think
It was two sets down against Dennis Harbour, and then just turned in a performance that was worthy of the championship that night.
But amazing, 21-year-old, youngest world champion, 21-year-old, amazing. Played absolutely marvellous starts. I think it's good for the game. It was for a youngster to do that, because not only that, the youngsters looking at that tell you, think, well, he's 21. I'm 18. If I get my darts, I can be world champion. So
traditionally speaking, we're talking about a game where you have to be in your 30s to be a world champion, is the traditional thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and
now
it's anybody's game.
For the match.
For the title.
25, 86 left. Double eight. Yes! It's there! It's there! Everyone here standing, applauding. This young star is in the crowd. He's gone to Ivanka, his inspiration of darts. But what a performance! Raymond Barneveld searched for a dream. That young man has taken it all away.
What's really nice is an event that 30 years ago started out at the heart of the Midlands. We can actually truly say now is global. What's the
It's
next?
gone quick.
Yeah?
I'll tell you what, my 30 years has gone quick as well.
What does the next 30 years hold, though?
I hope. I sincerely hope.
I'd like to know that.
I hope I'm here. I doubt it. No, I sincerely feel that these youngsters now have been shown the way, and it can continue that way, and that whether it's 3 world championships or not, that the viewers, the dart fans can enjoy any dart match that they watch, that gives them pleasure, and if it's doing that, who cares?
The next chapter of the BDO World Darts Championship will be written tonight. Doors of the Lakeside Country Club have just opened. Crowd on the way in, getting in place so they can go through their pre-match warm-up. Now, here's some details of a few other sports programs that are lined up.
because